Hi guys, it's your head Frothmeister Fenz here with another Friday Tips with Fenz. Alright, this week what we're going to look at is something which I talk with a lot of my athletes about. It's racing to win. Okay, a lot of times we race every week, week in, week out. And what happens when you do that is every race just becomes another race. And we don't ever have that real focus or real intention of going in there with a specific goal in mind, i.e. winning the race. And often that can be because it's your local clubby and you're just going down there because there's more of a social component to it. But winning is a habit. And when you get in the habit of winning, you expect yourself to win and put yourself in the position to win in more and more times. So it's important to set that habit and get into the habit of winning, okay? So how do we do this? Obviously, when you're building condition or you're going through a building condition, then you may not be fully tapered. You may not taper off. You may not specifically take some recovery days that week leading into these races. So I would go into those races trying to learn tactics, sussing out the opposition, looking at the riders around you, how they race, what they do. Do they stick out in the wind a lot? Do they snivel on the back and sprint finish at the end? You know, look at opportunities in local club rides where you're riding over terrain that could be a springboard or a place where you could attack in the future. Okay, you could use that as a trial. You could have a go on that. Even though you're not fresh enough to nail that attack, you might have a go. See who follows you. See how they follow you. Do they just go straight on your wheel, which means you may have to adopt a different technique to beat them. Developing that idea of the riders around us gives us a good indication of who we might toe to the line because we could still beat them in a sprint, or who we definitely wouldn't and we would sit up and wait for the pack again. Okay, so that might be happening as you're developing form and fitness through a base period or a building period. Once it comes into that time when you're in your peak time for racing, okay, and you're in your peak condition and you've tapered off and you're fresh and you're really ready to rip the cranks off, you want to make the most of that opportunity. So when you go to race them those days, you're not just going to roll through turns like everybody else. You're going to roll and maybe just do a little snivelly turn. Just soft tap on your pedals through, saving energy. An analogy I use, or what I use with a lot of my riders, is people that win bike races generally pedal the least. But when they pedal the hardest. And that's something that you should be thinking about when you're in that sort of race situation. Remembering that we only have so many matches in our matchbox that we can strike in any one day and still have something left for the finish. So think about saving. You may still have to roll through on a few turns, otherwise your locals are going to, give you some stick and really start shouting and bawling at you. But you can still be clever enough to be saving all the time, thinking about where your opportunity is. Okay, are you going to hit them from the back? A lot of people attack from the front. It's a classic mistake. They attack from second or third wheel and everyone can just jump on that and nullify that attack. Okay, attacking, you need to attack with pace and hit the guys who are the guys that you know are your biggest challenges. And they want to have just done a turn or just be thinking about doing a turn because they're already right at the front. You will have negotiated yourself to be near the back and you attack up a gutter. And you attack hard and you attack fast and you commit to that attack. Okay, if you've made the gap and you feel like it's going to be good and you can solo away to victory, nothing better than sticking the old hands up in the air as you cross the line on a solo victory. If, however, another guy's come across to you or a couple of riders have come across to you, you've then got to work out how you're going to win from that reduced bunch. And that's the problem most people don't do. They don't start working out how they're going to win. So again, they just roll to the finish and the fastest guy there wins and beats them. So again, thinking about who they are, you know the riders. This guy's a really good sprinter. So he's a really good sprinter where you're not going to tow him to the line. If you do, he's going to beat you. Or could you come off of his wheel? So you've got to force him to come to the front. And then don't go and do a turn. Remember, you really have to be committed to win. And you have to have that ability to throw away the race for the ability to win, because sometimes you've just got to be brutal and you've got to sit on, and if the group come back up to you to beat you, so be it. You were going to get beaten anyway by the faster sprinter. So think about that. You've got to be brutal about it if you're going to win, but it's always thinking about how you're going to do it. All right, guys. Start thinking about that as you're out there on your next clubby or in your next big race. Tactics, tactics, tactics. How can you win this race? Remembering that those that pedal the least, but generally pedal the hardest, are those that win races. All right, guys. Hopefully this has helped you. Another Friday Tips with Fenz. I'll catch you out on the road. Bye-bye.